And I'm showing you. Right, exactly. Yeah.
It is 9 o'clock. We have a quorum. If you would, stand and join me in the pledge to the flag. And if you care to, a prayer led by Commissioner Dawes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the lives that are in this room, those that work for the government in Hendricks County. I pray that we will all do work that is pleasing to you, but also serves the people in this county. Give us your direction in our meeting. Give us your wisdom, I pray. We thank you in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate you, Commissioner Dawes, on your win last Tuesday.
Thank you.
And Nancy Marsh, your
Yes.
win, and Mr. Stewart-Wall, your win.
Thank you.
And anybody else was on the ballot that won. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the October 22nd meeting, and we don't have any executive meeting.
Move for approval.
Second.
We're all caught up now. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is approval of claims.
Move for approval.
I'll second those. I did review them.
I did too, all 89
Yeah.
pages,
Yes. A lot of them.
a lot.
We had the money to pay all those, right?
Oh.
Okay.
Just like a poll.
And that wasn't even the case for the election workers.
Probably not, yeah,
No,
anymore,
not yet.
yeah, probably next time.
Yeah. Is there any unfinished business that didn't get? We will start with new business then. Mr. Ayers, we have a public hearing for a speed limit. So at this time, this is at 39 and county line.
Right.
And at this time, I would open the public hearing. Anybody like to speak regarding lowering that speed limit? Hearing no comments, we'll close the public hearing.
Just as a reminder, this is to accommodate the NDOT proposed intersection improvement there. They've got a roundabout plan for that intersection in about 2 years. And to assist with the design of that and meet design criteria, it's best if the approaches be a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. It allows them to do changes how they can do the approach tapers and access points, which is especially important on the southwest corner where Everett's auction is. So I think it's prudent to lower that speed limit. I think I went back a quarter mile each direction.
What ordinance number would this be?
2024-46.
46, right? Right. Commissioners, you've heard the,
I'm fine with that, Madam President.
would you like to make a motion to approve
I would.
ordinance number 2024-46?
I would. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any comments?
None.
All those in favor of the motion to approve ordinance number 2024-46, which would be lowering the speed limit at the intersection of 39 and County Line Road, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Next item is Stacy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have an addendum to the calendar year 2025 grant contract with NDOT. They have requested that there was an additional piece that needed a signature from you all. So it's just amending the contract that you guys have already signed. It's just an additional signature that's needed.
Okay, do I have that document here?
The special warranty arrangement.
Yes, I've got it. Now, we had some communication back and forth on a electronic signature, which was I signed and then,
That was different. That was for.
I know that was different, but
Yes.
did it get signed?
Yes, it did. Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Yours seems to be easier. It's when I deal with NDOT.
Mine seemed to be tough, so
Yeah.
sorry.
I'm the go-between. That's why it's easier
I'll
for
let you
you.
submit ours.
Okay, we have a request for an amendment to our agreement as Stacy presented.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
all. Have a great day.
You too. I did. Yes, I did the DocuSign. Jim Martis, is he here? I was kind of surprised. I hadn't heard anything about this.
I know they've been working on it for a while, and the one in your packet is a red line version of the changes.
Yes.
And it looks like they're removing item X, which is for stop work orders. I think that they found out that they couldn't do that it doesn't fall on their office to do it. And then adding credit card fees to allow them to start taking credit cards for permitting.
Well, and that was my question because it didn't look like the credit card fee was very much as to what the treasurer and all have to charge. So we would have to advertise for a hearing since it involves fees, wouldn't we?
It's not a fine or a penalty, so you don't have to. It just has to wait 30 days before it can become effective.
And isn't that, Nancy, you may know, on the miscellaneous fee on credit or debit transactions, isn't that 3% a pretty standard
Yeah.
amount
Yeah.
that we,
Yep, some
when
of
we
the
go use
upper
our
twos,
cards,
297
we're
to,
paying it and we don't even think about it.
right,
So,
we don't know most of the time.
Right.
At a business.
Yeah.
Retail. But we're prohibited
Yeah.
for taxes to,
Right.
So we will just lay this aside and if Mr. Martis shows up while we're still
Okay.
in session, we
And
can,
we can act on those,
yes,
maybe.
yes. So next would be Tiffany wants a credit card. Is Tiffany here?
I saw it in the hall.
I think we can go ahead and act on this. Is it pretty standard with what the other departments have?
The
Was
Shasta.
the amount quite a bit more than what we're normally doing?
Oh, yeah.
I know they have, part of their reasoning on theirs is their credit card now is with Hendricks County Bank and Trust.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get on board with everyone else and use the same bank. And my understanding is that they're gonna get rid of their Hendricks County one if the other one is approved.
I didn't know they had one.
Where's the amount? And how does that number differ?
Normally, originally, we were at 3,000. That's where we
So why are
started
we
at.
going
So 3,000 really is not enough for most departments. Pretty much credit card is the future. It's not the way bookkeeping was originally designed, but it's so much easier to use a credit card.
Do you need some time to investigate the current card that they have, or?
Yeah, they must have got that one on their own, so, and then just submitting bills.
I'm trying to find out where she's at to come answer some questions about it.
We could all go ahead and approve it on the $5,000, since that's what typical.
And a lot of them, they've increased to 5.
Yeah.
Those are 3, and they've had
Yeah,
some
we
go to 5.
had several asked for an increase to 5,
So
so.
do you wanna go with
That's fine.
3?
Fine.
we
Five.
did. Okay, I'll make that motion,
For how much?
5.
I'll second it, but may I ask a question?
Sure.
Why are we approving 5 for them and only 3 for one?
No, because
Okay.
half the departments have come and asked for more,
Yes.
or more than half.
Or more than that, yeah, 'cause some have 7,500.
Yeah, some of them have 10,000.
Oh, I
One
didn't know
one hiccup with the credit cards, they will not issue it or even start processing it until they have signed minutes that you have approved.
There's a letter now that I
So-
There's
that.
Tiffany now.
There's Tiffany.
Sorry.
So
Okay,
it-
we're talking about the request for a credit card. We didn't know that you had one already with a Hendricks County Bank. So if this is approved, which we already have a motion on the floor, we haven't voted, the motion was to approve 5,000. But you will be canceling these.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to do. So when we first started this, I was talking with Paula upstairs. We didn't know the process of everything, and apparently we're the only ones that have our own credit card that we deal with. And I don't know who set it up or when it was set up. It's like that when I
Are
started.
those claims submitted to the auditor's office on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, we do
pay
it
them,
the same.
so-
But I just would like to be more consistent and do what everybody else does, so that's what this is for.
Are you okay, Bob, with the
Well,
5,000?
who reviews the charges?
The departments,
We do, and then we send it upstairs for payment.
and we cannot pay from a statement, we have to have original invoices. So if you charge something, we have to have your original, we can't pay from a statement,
Okay,
so we,
well, that makes
And we
sense.
submit all that. Currently, we have a $6,000 limit with Hendricks County.
Oh, so that's why you put 6 down. Got it. Okay. Will 5 work, or you want to keep it at 6?
That's up to you. I mean, I would love to have 6 to keep it the same, but if 5 is your vote, then 5 is fine.
That was the motion, so.
In a second, I'll call for the question.
Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion to grant the request for a credit card for the surveyor's department with the limit being $5,000, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. I do see Mr. Martis back there. Would you like to step forward and explain your request?
We're the only department that does it.
You what?
Our department, clean water department's the only one that doesn't take a credit card,
Okay.
so we needed to add it to our fee schedule.
That wasn't our question.
Oh, sorry.
That'll be another agenda item.
It's that, it's your fee schedule. You're
Yeah.
You're deleting some, and then you want to add the
We're adding
credit
that,
card fee.
Question, Madam President.
Yes?
Jim, I assume that you have some discretion that if, because if you have a demolition permit issued, then they're all supposed, also by ordinance, supposed to get a, what do you guys call it? A erosion control permit. Well, there are times when that's totally inappropriate to get the erosion control permit, because there is not going to be any erosion.
Which I take
Can
that
you-
into account.
Do you take that in consideration? All right, that's what I need to know.
And if somebody's gonna come in and demo and then rebuild a house, I typically think it's stupid to do 2 permits.
Thank you.
I just do
Thank you.
1, and we put them,
That's
get
what-
plans for
That's
both.
exactly what I'm referring to, because there are times when it's totally inappropriate.
Come on, man, you know that.
I know that.
Yeah,
I
no,
think-
we
I thought I
do,
knew you well.
we do that. Same thing if somebody's gonna come in and put a front porch on a house over an existing concrete stoop. We still do a permit, I don't charge them any money for
There
it,
you go.
because that's silly,
That's what I'm
because they're not gonna disturb any.
That's what I'm looking for. I'll move for adoption of the fee schedule then.
Okay, that would just be amending the 2023 or 2013-09 to 2024 47.
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sorry I delayed you.
Well, you didn't, we just went right on.
Only forgot that was up today, so my bad.
Well, hello there.
Good morning. I believe I'm next on the list.
Well, I think you're right. I think you have the
Quite a
next
few.
3 or 4 spots.
Correct. So I'll bring up a chair so I can get comfortable. The first that I have is banning engineering for the East Campus. I believe we've possibly discussed before that the East Campus Boulevard was never dedicated to the town of Danville. So our department is still responsible for snow removal, salting, and all that. Future repairs or anything else, normally those roads are dedicated to the town. And I've talked to the town manager and he supports that, but we have a step of going through to do some plating and such to meet those requirements.
I'll make the motion to approve the fees for banning to accomplish this project.
Second.
Let's hope the process goes good.
I was gonna say,
Early discussion, it seemed to be okay, but we gotta go through this step before we go through the process.
so that would include the dangerous intersection at East Campus Boulevard and
Correct.
Carry quickly on the road.
Yes,
very dangerous.
it's just liability for us, in my eyes, that we don't really need, so.
Well, I know the former sheriff said, you know, there were numerous accidents out there that they could see from the jail. So all those in favor of the motion to, the agreement with Banning Engineering for the roadway, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now the project that just keeps on giving.
You're right, I've got lots of questions, Jack.
And
You
that-
probably saw my email.
I did this
Greg
morning.
saw my email. Todd saw my
Yes.
email.
So the project's been challenging. I guess one simple comparison of what we dealt with is the building's divided into 3 different areas with 3 different heating and cooling units, but it was designed for one thermostat to be in the shop of the auto body. So there was no way to control each zone, so we basically discussed with the engineer the corrective action that needed to be taken place. But that's how this project has been. Numerous items, but through the process, there's a lot of change orders that have been signed and everything, and I want to correct this before we close this project out and put it in the files, because we know that the commissioners are to sign all of the change orders. So this is sort of a reactive to these change orders have been signed and have been processed, but they weren't really processed correctly because they weren't signed by the commissioners.
Okay, so they've already been approved.
They've been approved, they've been correct, not by the commissioners. So that's all I'm really trying to do here is straighten things up so when the project's done and everything goes in the file, all the approvals are been signed correctly.
Well, I got my calculator out last night. I
Yeah.
added up all
Yes.
these change
Correct.
orders. And when I got to a very high amount, I stopped.
Yeah, which I
Now-
understand.
how much has been allocated for this project? And is this way over like these change orders indicated, or?
So the allocation was 742,000 was the original, which had been bumped up one time. I don't have the very original, but because of the generator, there was funding added to this project. The additional request to cover New Corners office fees. So through the process, as of today, and as I'm going through my numbers and getting the numbers I'm getting from the architect, there's a little discrepancy there that I just received that this morning, so I'm still working through that discrepancy. But currently, we'll have about $43,000 left on this project.
Out of the
742.
And that includes all these change orders.
Yes, sir. That is if we can get across the finish line, which I'm having that challenge to get the contractor's attention to get this project closed. I'm gonna hold retainage and do the normal things, but the contract didn't really give us a lot of teeth to, it's way over time. This was a 150-day project. I believe it was about that mark when I took over. So we've done a lot of things to get their attention and try to move forward, but we're so close, but we just can't cross that finish line. The doors that were changed, which they're on site, they've been on site, I believe, 2 weeks. We just can't seem to get them installed. The HVAC, we've been balancing that system and everything. We had meetings and we got really close, but it's just not quite correct yet. We've got negative pressure like we need to be in the one area, but we still got a little discrepancy with the thermostat and some minor things, but it's been very painful. And
so is this 19,000 for the fence, an add-on?
correct. So part of the challenge was no ADA compliance or anything else, so there's change orders related to that. There was no security to the fence and everything, so through the process, I did add that. That is an add, wasn't on the plans because we had no security for the vehicles or anything else. So now we have a secure area for the operation, and yes, I am responsible for that change.
Just a question.
Yes,
So that would still keep us within the
it
744,000.
appears at this time that there's a little discrepancy, but yes, my number is a little bit lower than their number, but I'm going with my number at this particular time. We just received that this morning. I do, like I said, I'm gonna keep the retainage. I do have a little directive that we're going to go after that I've sent to Todd and to Greg of how we're gonna do that process to try to encourage them to finish this project. And I totally agree with Todd's comments in his email also that there's certain
Email
roads
early
you just,
this morning.
there's just roads you don't go down again sometimes, so.
Question, Madam President. Jack, why were the doors changed?
So it was ironic that there was new doors that were planned for the new offices, but there was 4 or 5 old doors that were to be stained to match the new doors. Well, you can't overstain the old door to make the new door match so I don't know why it was done that way, but the new doors didn't match the old doors, and you couldn't make the old doors match the new doors. And it's in an office setting to where they're all in the corridor, so I really couldn't answer that.
Well, the stain of the doors doesn't bother me. I'm not blaming anybody.
Correct.
I don't like change orders. I think whatever you line up for to begin with, because everybody's reviewed it,
Correct.
and then you stay with that.
I'm not sure how much review was done on this
Oh, there you
project
go.
to be, I mean, I can't speak for that. I'm dealing with the other storage building and, you know, some things do get missed, but they do get caught at review also. So, yes, there again, it just,
I think we need to stay at $742,000, no matter what.
I think we should be comfortable
All
with
right.
that number. I don't foresee any other change orders. And the retainage, and there is a little bit of another deal on the doors that we may change that, so.
So my question is, can we go ahead and approve all of these change orders will still be within our budget
That is correct.
and you won't be coming back for any,
Careful, don't carry it.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't crossed that line. I was wanting to be here today of saying that job is closed out, we're complete, and here we are. But I just can't cross that finish line. And I would be more than happy to help you sign.
They're all marked.
There's multiple places to sign.
I will take my time and get them done today.
That's not an issue.
We just need to get the approval first.
Correct. And then in the future, that's the procedures that we have currently, and that's what I'm trying to correct and follow that procedure, so.
So Madam President, I'll make a motion to approve these change orders as presented by Mr. Swally.
I'll second that. One question though.
Sure.
In your opinion, Jack, how did the money, if it wasn't handled properly, where commissioners had to authorize the change orders, how did that change order get put in place and the money go to the vendor that did the work? How'd that happen?
It's just a signature. I mean, it was unknown to my knowledge that it needed to go through this step.
All right.
And that's what I'm trying to correct through some advisement,
Thank you.
because when we're done, it's corrected.
Thank you.
And in the future, this will be the practice.
Call for the question.
All those in favor of the motion to approve the change orders for the coroner's office as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
I've wanted to say this all along. At least we didn't change the use of the building. It's still a body shop.
Oh, that's
It is.
it is.
I wish I would have thought of that. It is a nice facility. It's
It is.
working, and
I mean,
Dan and
I
his
would
crew have
encourage
been
anybody to go out
great
there
to
and look
work
at
with.
it. It's a great,
Yeah,
a great facility.
it is a challenge.
Sorry. I have to
Oh, no,
say
you're
it.
fine.
You gotta remember my background. So,
You may continue
Thank you.
with GSF additional.
Healthy Families is moving out to Old Country, can't remember that right. Old Farm, and they've got a lease, and part of their lease agreement is they have to keep that facility clean. So this is an addendum to the original GSF contract for this cleaning service for that area, and that will be paid out of the line item that's on there, which will be Healthy Families.
Move for approval.
second.
I'd just like to say that the company is doing a fantastic job in this building. I just happened to notice these windowsills this morning. I mean, they actually look like they've been polished.
They've been cleaning carpets. It's got its headaches, but we've been working through, and they're great to work with. Very responsive to any of our issues or anything. So, yeah, it's well done.
We can even see out the windows. All those in favor of the motion to approve the addendum for the Healthy Families cleaning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So the next one is the GSF property damage release from the insurance company. It's been a little bit of a process through, but we have the quotes to do the repair, get the stone in, be finished in the way I feel it needs to be done so it doesn't look like a scar. That took a little bit, but the amount that is proposed should cover all those costs for the proposals we have currently.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any questions?
No.
All those in favor of the motion for the property damage release, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
We have the ordinance for the burn ban that was issued for an emergency, and it has since expired. And we just need to approve that we signed that, and Denny was authorized to sign on my behalf.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. We have a couple of appointments here. One is a reappointment to the Alcohol Beverage Board Commission.
I would move approval of Garen Carnes to stay on the Alcohol Beverage Board.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then we had a resignation at the Clayton Liberty Township Public Library, and immediately we got an application from a Ms. O'Sullivan who would like to be appointed to that vacancy.
Move for O'Sullivan's appointment.
I'll second. And she looks like a very good applicant.
She
with her
does.
background, and, yep. That's excellent.
So, all those in favor of the motion to appoint Ms. O'Sullivan to the Clayton Liberty Township Public Library signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Nancy, you have the assigning of a tax sale certificate for the town of Avon. I couldn't tell exactly the location of that. It looked like 267 and 100 North, Avon Avenue.
I don't know.
Okay,
So we sent the map, so you did, 100 North. Did you get the map?
I did
And
that.
Avon Avenue. So
Like a triangle.
just a little sliver of,
It did not sell, and
At
they
tax
would
sale.
like for it to be granted to the
To
town
them.
of Avon.
in our due diligence, we reach out to towns to see if they want any of these odd pieces that would be to their benefit. It has since been annexed into town, so it is,
So that's pharmacy for there, and that's the gas station there, so it's that little,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I go past there all the time, I
Yeah.
don't see that little sliver.
Yeah, it's
Vacant.
not, it's not marked that way at all. I looked for the yellow, but I couldn't see it.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 do you have, yeah, you've got the certificate there.
Okay. This one needs my signature. Any other new business that didn't get on the agenda? We are ready for comments from the floor. Is there anyone who would like to comment? If you would, sir, come
Doug, if you
to,
can step forward.
give your name and address for the record.
First, folks, work with me a little bit. I'm tired. I've had a rough night of sleep. I'm sure
Sorry.
that we all heard about the incident out on 900 yesterday. The young lady in question hit my home. She took her final breath at my bedroom window. So please work with me. I'm coming to you today in regards to an intersection at 150 East and 900. This is the fourth wreck in 12 years. There's been 5 wrecks on 900. This is the first wreck that involved the fatality of a 16-year-old girl. Now, as a disabled veteran, I've got to go the rest of my life on that day remembering that a child died at my bedroom window. I'm asking you board members to consider this. I'm not asking, I'm begging you, please. Before another child loses his or her life, I'm asking each board member to please check their hearts and do what I think might help. At the corner of 150 East and 900, there is a knoll that's like this. Mr. Gentry, I don't know what road it is that you live on, so please help me out.
275.
Okay, let's start from 275 and go west on 900. There's a hill that you cross just west of Jerry Love's property. I'm not saying let's lower the hill to allow speeding, I'm not. But this child lost her life. Speed was a factor that was determined yesterday. But the average citizen going west on 900, once they crest that hill, just before you get to 150 East, you're on it before you realize it. You can't stop quick enough. Can we please entertain the thought, maybe get a committee together and just say, hey, what can we do to resolve this situation or this problem that is out there? I've been doing a little bit of work on the width of a school bus is approximately 9 feet wide. 44 children are on that bus. 88 when 2 buses come together. From blacktop edge to blacktop edge is 16 feet. We're short 2 feet on that county road for 2 buses to pass. One of them has got to get off the side of the road. 900 is a narrow road. If you want to include your chip and seal, that, in my opinion, is a wasted set of funds. You guys put it down every year, and every winter, you push it off with a snowplow. I've got a pile of chip and seal in front of my house like this. I'm sure that if we look at it together, guys, we can come up with some kind of a remedy. I don't know what. I'm not in the field of engineering. But I don't know how many more years I've got left. I don't want another child dead in my yard. Please, guys, let's do something. Widen the road. I'm okay with it. Take whatever you need. I don't care. But please, do something. You guys can install solar lights if that seems to be an issue. Install them. Solar flashing light. Make it a 4-way stop at 500 or 900 and 150E. I'm okay with it. I've talked to all of my neighbors on 900. We're all okay with that. I live 3 houses from that intersection. And I would like to show you board members what took place yesterday. Because we've got to do something. My neighbor's pickup truck is a 3/4 ton pickup truck. May I approach you guys?
Yes.
My neighbor's truck is a 3/4 ton pickup truck, 4-wheel drive. This young lady moved this truck 24 feet off the driveway into my yard. This is the side of my home. This could have been 2 fatalities yesterday. The young girl lost her life when she was thrown out the windshield, 47 feet. And she laid underneath my bedroom window. There could have been 2 fatalities, like I said, because if you'll look, the car was headed straight for my bedroom window, where my wife had just woke up 5 minutes earlier. This is what it looked like when a young girl come out of the windshield of a vehicle. I'm asking you county board members to please think about this. As you can see, this is my bedroom window where the fire and paramedics were working on this young girl's body. Guys, how many more accidents? How many more lives do we have to lose? I'm asking you board members, please. Please examine this for us.
We will look into it. We are sorry for the entire community, for the hardship, and for,
The other thing I wanted to ask you guys to consider, you guys write the ordinances for the county, correct? Okay. May I use your whiteboard for a moment? On just about every county road, Bob, I understand you're a farmer, so you might be able to agree with me.
We talked about this yesterday.
900. You said it was 275 you lived on?
275 is our
Okay.
radius.
This is 275. Got homes through here. What's the one west of us, or east of me, west of you?
Oh, that'd be 225.
Okay, so there's another county road through here.
Yeah.
Which is 220, 225. Now, can you guys entertain the thought of trying to pass an ordinance that the farmers at every intersection, even at 275, there's a cornfield right here. You've got to pull out on the oncoming traffic on 275. Pass a county ordinance that says that you cannot plant to obstruct the view. That's an idea to look at. Every county road, every cross section. Give an allowance of 25 feet. 25 feet. Altogether, you're looking at 50. Is it gonna slow somebody down? Probably not. But it's gonna open up your view a little bit. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking, guys. We can avoid a lot of children's deaths. It's all up to you guys at this point. But like I said, I've lived there on 900 for 12 years. 5 wrecks, now 1 fatality. Please do something.
we appreciate your thoughts and ideas.
Thanks,
And
Doug.
we are extremely sorry about the fatality.
I was aware of the wreck also, talked to Bob yesterday, so we'll look at that intersection and see what we can do to hopefully improve some things.
The young lady had a name. Her name was Morgan Henderson, and we all mourn her loss.
has an impact
Oh.
on the school
Oh, it
and on
did.
the community
Yes.
and on the
Today was a
county.
very rough day at Travis High School.
And we all grieve.
Yep.
Are there any other comments from the floor? We'll move on then to elected officials. Sheriff? And I'm tough, I'm sure it was tough on your department that responded to that call. Nancy, I don't see anybody else out there. Nancy? Great. We will move on then to staff reports. John?
Yes, ma'am. Mine's pretty brief there. I apologize. I've been dealing with some stuff with my mom last week. So most of these, so I was very brief in my comments. Most of these are updates. One change, one of those updates on note 3, it looks like we'll be paving the approaches on Bridge 88 next week, not this week. 2 things to add. There is a bridge project out at Plainfield, Bridge 227, which is on Orley Road. I think I talked to you about it previously. They're paying to replace that as part of some development work in there. That project's actually been delayed by some permitting issues. And the status of the bridge that used to be there being possibly historic, the problem there being it used to be there, it's been demolished, and that's causing a snag in the permitting. So that's on temporary hold. We're working with Plainfield on that.
Do we need an interlocal agreement with Plainfield?
I think we already got one.
Where is Orley Road?
It's 600 south of 70, back in the hinterlands in there. The bridge has been closed for quite a while. This is the road that ends up in the backside of the Pepsi warehouse in Marion County. I think it's 600 south, maybe it's 700 south, I don't remember. No, I believe it's 600. Anyway, it's up in that triangle south of 70, over the corner. We are looking at some traffic impact issues right now. I'm reviewing some traffic studies, one up by Pittsboro for development up there, and then one for large residential project east of Brownsburg near Raceway Road. So we're looking at all that. Also looking at traffic studies down at 39 and 70 for some improvements that the truck stop wants to do there and how that's going to tie in with our future roundabouts, what we make them do now versus waiting for the roundabouts to be constructed. And you'll also note on there that I did turn in an additional appropriation request to the council to fund that design like we talked about last meeting. And I did not attach the Appian report to the email. I apologize, but this is the November report for it. So, that's all.
John, when you do the traffic studies that you're talking about, or they are
They do them.
being done or whatever, I don't know how to say it. Just look at that carefully, and I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Take into consideration everything around there, so, yeah.
The
On
hard
both-
part,
On both sides, Pittsboro and.
right. Yeah, the hard part is, or not the hard part, but one of the challenges is anticipating where all that traffic's gonna go, how it's gonna spread out. And we can guide that a little bit with the design of the developments, but you can't always.
Yeah.
So we have to predict where that's gonna go and where the impacts are gonna be. And sometimes it gets pretty far flung away from the development. And then of course the challenge is finding out how to fund improvements that may need to be done off-site. I'm working that out with the developer.
Because all of those roads in both locations, at this point anyway, are county, so.
Yes.
they're
Yeah, most of them are.
Probably at some point they won't be, but they are now.
So just want to let you know what we're working on. Do you have anything for me?
No.
Okay.
Keith is surprised of your study on that 900 North.
Yeah.
and
And as you know, Kurt's been spearheading a local road safety plan. And there's some systemic components to that, but then also there's some location-specific components. And we have other intersections similar to this, and they all kind of carry that same risk. So hopefully that's something we can kind of address on a systemic basis.
Okay, I'll bring up a couple of other things since the gentleman, you know, I ride a bicycle, not a motorcycle, and so on. And in a car, I understand exactly what he's saying, and so on. On a bike, it's bad as well.
Right.
And, but I'm sure there's gotta be we don't own.
Right.
we
In
don't own that
areas,
property,
in areas where we have defined right-of-way back off the road,
Yeah.
that's easy to control, and usually it's not a problem. A lot of it depends on the farmer. Some farmers have a habit of getting as close to the pavement as they can. I've always said if it wouldn't, there's a couple farmers in the county that wouldn't eat up their planter openers, they'd plant out in the asphalt. So, so we do have the right in some situations, if we think it's a hazard, kind of like with trees, if we think they're a hazard, even if they're off the right of way, we can go in and with proper notification, clear some corners. The previous highway superintendent used to kind of do that whenever he felt it was necessary. Sometimes it met some opposition, but, yeah, I agree. There's a lot of corners like that, and I see a lot of them also. And again, where we have right of way, that's pretty easy to define. Most of the time, they stay off that anyway, or we can go and say, hey, you need to be off our right of way. That helps, but there are a lot of corners where they play.
The other thing I was gonna mention is, and it's really only during the time of season when the farmers are out working and so on, and you're driving a road that's a narrow road, and one of these big pieces of equipment that's trying to take down the crops and so on is on the road coming toward you. And they've got to pull off the road, or you've got to pull off the road. I don't know what we do with that, because that can be a dangerous situation.
It can be, and I mean, we anytime we resurface roads, we try to bump them out. If they're less than 20, we try to get them to 20-foot minimum pavement width when we can as we resurface. But even 20 feet isn't enough for some sizes of equipment. It's just
Do we have an ordinance that exists, or?
as far as pavement width.
No, not pavement width, but a combine that's on the road. Are they supposed to pull off, or can they stay?
I don't know what,
Well,
the sheriff's still back there? I don't know what state law says about that.
I don't need, thank you so much, Danny, for bringing that up, because the farmers, we got stuck the other day moving the combine. We chose the wrong time of day, but just the way it works out. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon on 275, and we actually sat still with the combine for 5 minutes, waiting for cars to move. I think, as Doug Joyner laid out, I think at least we need to try and encourage farmers to back off planting. 'Cause our corner where we are at 275 and 1,000, when the corn is on the corners, it's really dangerous there. We have a lot of people, confronting each other because there were close calls. I think one thing we could consider, or a couple things, is do we have an ordinance that had, like moving heavy equipment, where you have escort vehicles, and there's a map laid out, hey, these combines are gonna move, it's gonna be put on the internet, they're gonna move tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock from here to here, there'll be an escort vehicle in front and back. Some of the people, the general public, try to move over, but they don't. John, you've driven big equipment before. They move over at a really awkward place, and you can't get past them. I think one thing we could consider is making pull-offs, like on our road, making one pull-off between Interstate 74 and the Boone County line, where the people, if they see the machine coming, they can either pull over, or the machine can pull over on there to let the traffic pass. Because the roads are being built up so high, and I don't object to that at all, that has to be done. But they're up so high that you can't get the equipment off the side. And the cars really can't get off either, because they damage their undercarriage if they get off. It's just things that we need to consider. I sincerely appreciate Denny bringing that up. for the farm guys. Because the farm guys want consideration, and I'll defend them on moving their equipment. They also need to take the responsibility of laying back off the corners. That's on them. They need to lay back off the corners so you can see. And you're not gonna lose $10 worth of crop. You're just not. And they don't consciously think of that when they're running the planter, but it's similar to me to the easement, you plant at your own peril within 75 feet of a ditch. Well, I think something like that could be an ordinance. Hey, if you plant in here, we're gonna mow that off so you can see. And they need to know that. They need to, because and it didn't affect this young lady. Her loss of life is tragic, but it can. Those are, 900 south and 0.
Yeah,
They're very,
there's
very
corners on
similar.
that road,
Yes,
I clench a little bit anytime I drive.
yes,
Kind of steep
yes,
out. a little bit.
yes, you do. So, thank you, Denny, and I think.
I don't know the answer to those concerns. I mean, the corners and keeping things cut back, that's something I think we can try to regulate, control a little bit, be more aggressive about asking or enforcing
Yeah.
if we need corners cut back.
Yeah.
As far as general road widths and farm machinery, that's awfully hard to police. I mean, with as many farmers as we have, I don't know how you would. I don't see it practical to enforce any kind of like wide load movement.
That's fine. That doesn't affect you.
Pull-offs, I mean, when you're doing it, you always look for an intersecting road or something you can pull
Right,
out
pull
in
over.
to let people past. As far as establishing formal pull-offs, I don't know, that's
That's something to
an interesting
consider.
idea, yeah.
I thought I read someplace recently where if you're driving the heavy equipment and there's 5 vehicles lined up behind you, that you're supposed to pull off.
I think you're right, Phyllis, and I don't know
I
if
don't
that's,
even know where I read it.
I don't know if that's well, in fact, I don't know if that's a state ordinance. This is a Purdue publication, Transporting Farm Equipment. And I forget who the guy is, the extension guy who runs it. But he basically says that if that machine, that tractor and corn planter, if you're in the road, now see that road there, he'll have no problem. That's probably a state road. You got a side, but on the county roads, you don't have a place to pull over. You're actually better off just as wide. Right, you got a wide berm there. You're actually better off to stay in the middle with the farm equipment and just go, because if you start going off, then the cars go off and you end up, it
Well,
becomes.
they may think they can pass you in a place
Right,
where they can't.
exactly. They think they can pass, and we've had it happen where once I pull back onto the road, there's a car right there.
I'll bet the IU football coach can help figure that out.
He probably can. It
Not
sure
the
wouldn't be
Purdue
no,
coach.
no, it would not be the Purdue coach. They would not.
Sorry, I had to say that too.
I don't blame you.
And we can put in all kinds of safety measures and everything, but the driver has a responsibility as well.
You're right, Phil. And the farm drivers.
Yes,
Farm drivers
and
have
Bob told me yesterday, people are just driving fast.
Oh, they just
I
drive.
see them run red lights all the time.
Yes.
And, you've installed a traffic signal and
They run,
And
yeah,
if they
disregard it.
disregard it and a tragedy happens,
Yes.
it's
Well, thank you
it's
for
tough.
everybody's concern.
do you have anything else for John?
I do not.
Todd, I think you're next.
Yeah, none of my items require any action by you, but I'm open to discussing any of them if you so choose.
I see the one, number 2.
I've already sent you my discussion on that via email.
I agree. I think we need to work on that.
Yeah, we do.
And,
Yep.
and I'm in agreement if you want to look at number 3 and get some other things from counties, I think that's fine too.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
yes, I agree. However, the incident that had been called to Jack's attention was a private property owner that had that vehicle towed. And I don't think the county owned the lot where the vehicle was towed to, so, some of it's out of our control.
Madam President, is number 3, are you referring to like predatory towing?
I don't know if I could call it that, and Jack may.
He was back there, might be wrong.
Jack had some concerns too. It's, other counties have certain requirements if you tow a vehicle prior to towing, and then how often they have to be available to
We talked about you.
get your car out of storage. And I think the incident that led to this was at the fairgrounds. About the towing, I talked to you about, you know, if there are any concerns about or need for an ordinance or to regulate towing.
Yeah, so I know we did have a discussion about the towing that surrounded the fair, but it's not on fairgrounds property. It's on private property and businesses or they have business property. Where vehicles would come from. I don't know that it necessarily helps us with towing for properties in town. I don't know that it's an issue for us necessarily. I'm open to conversations on having an ordinance for the county specifically, but in the case of the complaint that we're talking about, it would not have.
So, Madam President, may I ask a question?
Yes.
So Sheriff, is this considered predatory towing? You know, where you intentionally set no parking signs or 1 hour signs knowing that people will go park for 2 hours and you tow them so you can collect the fee for towing? Is that what we're referring to here?
No, well, I mean, those signs that they have posted there have been posted. I don't think it was something that they just initially did. A lot of people, if you remember years ago, before Walmart was put in, that drive was in there, the town had put up no parking, people were getting towed off of that drive as well. So, unfortunately, years ago, if you drove your car in, you had to pay, but you could walk in. So anyway, there's been some changes that have been made that help in that aspect. People still like to go over and park with other businesses and walk across East Main to get into the fair. And the problem is that those business owners want to appreciate their lots being full or have business with them, whether it's during business hours or after business hours. So they've posted no parking. So they're, you know, how the town of Danville, those businesses are working together. I don't have any specific knowledge, but the area, I was actually directing traffic at Gate 1 when a family couldn't find their car. So they found out that it took from, there was no parking unless you post office business. So, I mean, there is some onus on the individual, obviously, but it's tough. We come out of the fair at 10:30 at night. Put your cards in Monday morning.
But the signage is adequate, and they park there to avoid paying to park at the fairgrounds, and they end up paying a lot more to get their tow out of them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it falls back to responsibility.
It does, and it's tough, again, I hate to see someone in that situation. It'd be nice if they could get their car immediately, that would have helped in that situation specifically that I was involved in, but obviously that's up to the business of the tow company, and when they're gonna be operational hours to allow people to release.
Part of the issue is the operational hours that, okay, we towed your car, we're closed for the weekend, we're gonna charge you $200 a day storage, and that they can't get their car,
That's predatory towing.
and that they believe that they're not open for business for the purpose of increasing the storage fees. I mean, I think I'd be irritated too, but, but as, you know, I don't know how big of an issue it is for the county. I don't know if we can regulate towing companies or not in some other way. I mean, it happened in the town of Danville, the incident we're talking about.
Most of it is all in the town of Danville.
Yeah, I don't see this being an issue for us anywhere necessarily in our jurisdictions.
And the person that was very nice, very respectful about it, admitted it was their fault, and still just said in other counties, there are certain protections, and wanted it to be brought up.
You wanna look at it and bring something back,
Yeah.
fine, if not.
Let's do.
Fine,
My daughter Beth, when she was a student at Purdue, she was negligent. She was also a victim of predatory towing.
Anything for Dot? Anything else?
Whatever's best.
Doug?
Just updates on the commissions, unless you have anything.
that was a lot of applicants.
That is, I was shocked. 80% of them were very valid, they were looking for a remote work job, but nevertheless, it was pretty, not what I expected for sure.
So are you close to having,
We've got a good list of candidates, we're gonna start the interview process this week. Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Jack, do you have anything else? We've been pretty rough on you this morning.
That's fine. You have my staff report. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Item 2 on the animal shelter storage, I think if you wanna move ahead with that, look at that, bring something back, that's fine.
I appreciate that because I want to really utilize that space for what it can be.
Yeah.
And those are sort of items that we need to do that. So I will do that and bring that back to you.
And the same on 3, the parking here.
Yes.
Okay.
A little bit of a challenge, but we'll see what happens and we'll bring something back to you.
The landscaping looks very nice.
Thank you.
And talking about the parking, I was here on Sunday afternoon and there's a lot of vehicles parked here on the
Yes.
weekend.
Yeah.
I attended the DAR dedication of the monument and they were very appreciative of the cooperation with your department and it was well attended.
That's good.
Very well attended. Sheriff even had to climb up in the attic and turn some lights on.
He was on the phone with me to make the journey.
He said that you said you'd walk him through it,
Yeah.
but Kevin Kavanaugh was there. He said
Really?
he wouldn't miss it because, you know, he had been there when they started to
Started
talk
that.
about. And it was a monumental task. They had to certify that each one of those veterans had lived in Hendricks County and they had served in the Revolutionary War. So it was quite a nice ceremony.
I think the weather broke enough for him also.
It did, but they went ahead and had it inside because it was very windy. And Nancy has a Revolutionary veteran in her family, Obadiah Turpin. Mhm.
Yes, they buried right over in the cemetery, I
Mhm.
believe.
So that group of ladies is amazing,
They did a lot of work and they thought through every step that there was.
very well organized. They've cleaned the existing monuments, they've cleaned markers in other cemeteries. They do the wreaths across America and the banners in the towns and they're just,
It's a good group.
yes. And I appreciate you being willing to work with them.
Thank you. It wasn't an issue.
That concludes our staff reports. Commissioners. Bob, do you have anything?
Could I bring 2 items, please? We all got a letter from Hendricks Regional Health. Let me preface this. We usually make appointments to boards later, I know, but we got the letter from the hospital requesting that Aaron Ingalls be reappointed. They didn't give us any other names, and my thought is to go ahead and approve her for another 4-year term. Keep that board consistent. And Dr. Finnerty being new in her position, to let that consistency stay there. So I would move that we reappoint Karen Ingalls to the HRH Board of Trustees.
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And you've read my discussion points.
Yes. The other one is the Drainage Board, and we've got a vacancy there, and we've had 3 applicants, and I am in total agreement that one of the applicants is probably the best applicant with background, training, experience, so on, but there's a conflict of interest that's there that's gonna remain. And it would be really good if we could find someone in another part of the county, but I think we have a very good applicant in the remaining 2 that is very competent, and I don't think the location matters in that regard, and that's Michael Hessian. And I would move that we appoint Michael Hessian to the Drainage Board.
Second.
Any comments or? He seemed like a very nice young man and very knowledgeable and very anxious to contribute to community service. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
That's all.
You saw my comments.
Yes, I did. Yep.
And I will have to say that Stan Ryland is missed, and he was here for a very long time. The only thing I have is yesterday was Veterans Day, and I was just wondering if we had any veterans in the audience this morning. Thank you. Anybody else? Well, I think it's a special day to remember. And the other thing is, I've commented several times about touring the work release facility. I just need to know if you're interested in doing that. Okay.
When do you want to do it?
Huh?
When do you want to do it?
I was thinking about maybe after the next meeting, because we don't have the 3rd meeting.
It's fine, man.
Mila, would you mind setting that up with Bridget? I haven't personally been there since we dedicated the building, and we've made a lot of changes, and I think it would show Bridget how interested we are, and
Sure.
we've approved the modulars. Todd, would you care to join us also? Okay.
What would the date of that be?
26th,
26?
26th.
I guessed right. Renee, do you have anything?
I thought Commissioner Dawes was gonna bring it up, but I could absolutely bring it up.
All right, if you would come.
Sure.
And,
I saw you sitting there, so.
yeah, we're glad to have you, you know.
Sorry, I went out of order, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. State your name.
My name
and-
is Renee Tomlinson, and I'm the 911 Director at Hendrick County. So recently it was brought to my attention that the radios that we have will be out of date to be able to flash, which that means by December 31st, some of our radios will no longer be accepting new programming. They will, whatever is set in the programming is set in the programming. So in order to get them up to date, they will have to be repurchased. They flash, or the download of the program is $415 per radio. And what it is called a TDMA. It allows more people to talk on a frequency at a time. So right now we can have 8 people on a frequency, and the frequency is this large. This new flash program or download will allow us to get 3 people per 8, so it will increase our capability by times 3, so 24 instead of 8. The bonking that you hear when the radio, when you key up, I'm not sure if you've heard it, but that allows people to not, it stops them from talking. So this flash program will allow them to continue talking continuously. And as the county grows and there are going to be more people talking on the radio, this will become very important. IPSC is doing an initiation or an initiative that by 2026, all radios have to have this programming. If we reprogram the radios that are in the system now, there are approximately 180 of them. We'll be able to extend the life of that radio so that we can put it in the budget for purchasing a new radio at some other point. Each of those radios costs about $6,000 and can go up to $15,000. So, and there are over 1,000 of them on our county's IPSC channel or radio system. So right now I'm requesting $100,000 for it to be flashed, the ones that are on the system now that have to be flashed by December 31st. Because right now all of that cost is on the individual departments. Well, we hold the radio system, and so if we had that money, we can flash these radios in-house for $415. Otherwise, January 1st, they're basically paperweights. So, and then we would have to spend $6,000 to get them up and running. So that's what I'm kind of asking, and that's the reason I'm asking for it, and to alleviate some of that extra pressure on the individual agencies who might not have the funds to be able to do this, and then it's astronomical after that.
So would this be a shared cost? You're only asking the county, or would the towns be able to help?
Here is my thought on it. And since I'm the chair of the advisory board, and we had a meeting last week, Renee being here explained it a lot better than I could. I talked to Nancy. My thought was, this is a public safety issue across the county that doesn't necessarily just affect a Brownsburg site, could affect Hazelwood, it could affect North Salem, so on, and it would be best for us, the county, to undertake this at this point, to get all these radios ready.
I agree.
Down the road, we can have time then for each of the departments to work on getting things ready when 26 happens or whatever that
Right.
year is. And we can use some of the interest money from the ARPA funds to do this. That's where the 100,000 would come from. That's my, whatever you want to call it, thinking.
So would the commissioners need to
We could,
send a letter to the council that we support this?
Yeah. it would be an additional appropriation, yeah.
Okay.
Madam President, may I pose a question? This has long been an issue. Do you have to stay with Motorola? Can you take competitive bids? Can Johnson? Because other counties have Johnson radios, they communicate with Motorola radios.
We can, and there are some proprietary things, but when it comes to something that they know well, although Motorola has put their fingers in a lot of other things, they know radios, and they are the best in the radio business. And so they have the consistency, whereas other radio systems, yes, we could all go to it, and if we went to that shift would be millions of dollars, since we're already established as a Motorola product. So that's because the radios are still gonna need flashed, it's the type of radio that it is, and the radios are still gonna be purchased. So yes, we could,
Well, are all the radios Motorola?
yes.
So they actually
the
hold us
county.
hostage then.
Did Motorola just tell you about this now? I mean,
No, the real issue is that IPSC keeps kind of making their dates different. So we've known about it, however, not to this extent where by the end of December, it's gonna be flashed. We knew about it in May. And so I appealed to everyone in May, hey, you know, we need to get moving on this, we're doing this, and because if one person isn't on this new system, it's the weakest link that gets the attention. So we could have 99 radios out of 100 on it. If that one radio isn't on it, it's the weakest link and it will keep us at the 8 per frequency. So that's why I'm trying to get everybody on it so that we get the best, you know,
so in May,
ability.
you just didn't get response from the other
In
agencies?
May, they were a wait and see because IPSC has been moving the date to this and that. And so the hard date came December 31st because the radios are going to be out of date and I have to work with the dates that I'm given. So
Well, for the record, I totally support Commissioner Dawes' theory of using the money to bring everybody in the county, the smaller departments, so they can, because traditionally in the past, sometimes they kind of get treated differently.
With this, yeah.
Yeah, with it, yes.
So
So-
do we need a
so I would-
motion to give the council our recommendation, or is being in the record enough, or?
I think a written
Okay,
request would be
I'll
best.
move to send a written letter of endorsement.
I'll second.
Nancy, with the additional, would it need to come to the commissioner's office? Or how would that money, or where would it be appropriated?
We do the bookkeeping all under one fund number, and anything that's not, anybody within Hendricks County, we would put your location. So, like John's, we use 143, and so we tie it to the numbering system.
Okay.
So it'd actually be a commissioner's addition.
Additional, that's right.
from ARPA interest.
Yeah, or just from ARPA.
All those in favor of the motion to send the written request, or written recommendation to the council signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. If you could draft something up, I can stop in and sign it anytime.
And I would add that Renee has done a really good job for in the position she's in, with a lot of other pressures on her. And
I can
we
imagine.
are thankful for
Yes.
what you're doing.
She's little, but she's mighty, and there was a nationwide search, and she
Yes.
came to the forefront, and it's been, what do you say, 18 months?
it has been 13 months.
Good to have you, and
Yeah.
nice to see you.
Thank you.
Anything else? You had something, Greg?
Yes. Talking about the sale of the property, the cemetery property.
Yes.
Abby helped get me focused on what the process is. You have you can always hire a realtor. But you can also have a public auction and an online public auction. That goes through the state. I don't see the need unless you want to go through, hire a realtor. Probably have one interested party that's gonna be the one purchaser, but we still need to go through the process to protect you. We can coordinate with Abby and Milo, if it's okay with you, on their timeframes, to check out the state's website, to go through the state, to do the online auction. Would that be okay with you, or does that sound good to you?
No, Madam President, may I ask a question? Greg, there's probably no way to protect, because the Cemetery Association is the only one that can really use it. But there are all those nefarious people out there who bid on this kind of stuff just to hold people hostage. There's probably no way to protect them from that, is there?
So did I hear you say the best would be to do an online auction, or did I hear you say we could hire a realtor?
You can hire a realtor. Yeah, if you want to.
What is your recommendation?
Well, I don't see the need to hire a realtor.
Okay,
I would let us check out the public auction, but especially the online public auction through the state's website.
so is there a consensus to authorize Greg's office to do that?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you all for being here. Meeting's adjourned. Good morning. We do have a quorum, and it's like 10:40. If you would join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Thank you. We're gonna have to get us a space heater.
No, kidding, gosh.
More blankets.
Todd, or Doug has one in his room, and I mean to tell you, it feels good. Is it? Todd came in here, he's rubbing his hands together.
What's the first signs of hypothermia?
I don't know, but I may be suffering from.
Good grief.
First item is the approval of the minutes of the October 8th meeting.
Move for approval. Second.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is the Aqua Indiana report. Good morning, which I will have to admit that I didn't read.
Not a whole lot of updates. I did want to point out, highlight here, had a little bit of an operational issue, actually, this past week. Had two bearings fail at the same time in our new PLRs, and that caused our ammonia treatment to suffer. We got them fixed very quickly, but we have a ammonia exceedance of for the weekly average. That's not, we'll report it and all that, and on the report to IDEM. Won't be an end of the world or anything like that, but I want to make sure you know that. We got the treatment back to where it needs to be, and we shouldn't have a monthly concentration. So you get a weekly concentration is a higher amount, but then the monthly concentration limit is lower. We recovered enough to where we'll be able to make that limit within. So just be a weekly exceedance. And we're looking into, we've had several bearing failures, so we're looking real hard at what we can do, and we definitely don't replace them with that kind of bearing. It's unusual for this kind of bearing to last 2 to 4 years. This is the 6th one we've lost out of 16 bearings. So it's very premature. Who knows what gets built during COVID, right? So,
Hadn't thought about that. A lot of things.
yeah, so we keep bearings in stock. We always have one on the shelf, just guys with 2 of them this time.
Where do you go? Motion Industries?
We used to go to Motion Industries, our sales guy left, so we still go there sometimes. We go through quality repair, and because they have the Dodge. Dodge product bearings are really stout. They're American made, they're stout. So we place bearings, we go from little inside bearing on the inside, but it's a lot beefier bearing. So we have used them too, though. They're a good outfit.
You install those, not you, but does staff and
No, we have a contractor
Okay, yeah.
coming. It requires because of the reach. Of course, these are the 2 farthest bearings from. So we had to bring in a big crane and reach all the way across, and then we have a contractor that does expansions. We work with comes out and cuts the old one off. It takes a millwright's good to have in these situations. Yeah, a little more skill. I mean, I think our guy could do it, and he'll learn eventually, but
Yeah.
we don't have that crane.
Okay.
Structure Point. Good morning.
Yeah, it was a busy plan review month. I don't know if you kind of saw the list there. So kind of a lot of back and forth. So we sent out, I think it's got 8 acceptance memos in October alone. That's pretty high. So all of those things then will be moving into construction, once we send those. We send the acceptance and then they pay their invoice and then, they get started. So, so we'll kind of see that. So several of those were remodels. The old O'Charlie's is being converted to a different restaurant.
Ford's Garage.
Yeah. Yes. And then like a retail building, there were some splitting it, subdividing it, things like that. So some of those, you won't see a lot of construction activity, but then we will see stuff up near the kind of northern part of the sewer district, so that new, there'll be a new gas station, a new lift station up there near the I-74 Ronald Reagan area. So there will be quite a bit of activity up there, probably starting early spring, you know, as they get things ordered and materials and stuff, so. And then, yeah, we've gotten three kind of just, we always coordinate and respond to all the utility coordination requests that the sewer district receives. So, you know, if NDOT does any resurfacing or bridge work, we coordinate from a utility perspective. So there were a few of those. And there were also some sewer connection requests. A couple of those were private homeowners, and then a couple were more like businesses. So just a lot of interest and activity. And then I think maybe Jim has this on the agenda, but yeah, we're working through or you had on your agenda, but the low pressure sewer projects. So the first one in Lakeland Manor, construction started last week on the main low pressure sewer line. So if you drive by there, there's a contractor and equipment out there. They're actively drilling right now. So that's going in, and then we have a public meeting next week with the homeowners just to update them on how construction's going. And then we've selected the contractor that will be installing the grinder pumps on their property. So they'll start installing those like February, like after the main sewer's in and tested. And then we'll start getting people connected. So we've got those projects going as well.
So where is Lakeland Manor?
That's
South of Sonora.
650 by Sonora,
Just
Oh, by Sonora.
across the street.
Raceway and 650.
Turns golf, right?
Gulf
Golf use.
Creek Estates or something like that?
Gulfview Estates, they're right next
Did
door
they
to each other.
sign on also?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
So it's all happening at the same time.
All of them in there did?
Yeah.
Hot dang, what do you think of that?
That's good.
That is good, because those people said, we'll never need that.
They just didn't want high density housing.
So that's all going on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Exit 59?
We assume the entity that Greg talked about earlier on that is interested in project down at exit 59, and I think all the guys have had conversations with them, but met with them.
It's the data center. Yeah.
We met with them downtown Indy last week. We're still in the game, which is very positive. Their folks, we had a kind of a nuts and bolts conversation with them about quantities and timing and all of that kind of stuff. It was a very good meeting, and I told him since we're in design now, it's a good time to potentially be able to expand to accommodate their needs, because their needs are gonna be way higher than what we need. I said, what I needed is a go, no-go date. You know, we can't do anything and, you know, kind of sit on a bubble for 2 years. Gotta continue to move forward. So they thought their go, no-go date was gonna be June, July. So we're continuing to work there, but we're at the next level of people that we're talking to in those groups. So that's very positive. I think our big thing is going to be, and I think we touched on it at our last meeting, is that the property that they're looking at crosses over into Morgan County. So there's going to be some politics involved there, that especially when we look at utilizing TIFs and tax abatements, those kind of things that wouldn't be in my conversation, but I know those are going to be issues that they'll be looking at. And obviously, we'd be trying to recoup costs for a needed expansion out of that same pool. That'll be something that you guys will have to communicate with Morgan County.
Jim, I didn't think the data center project, I thought that whole project was in Hendricks County. So it crosses county boundaries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see here, but I'll hold this up a little bit. There's the exit 59 area.
Yep.
And that project,
Yeah.
they're looking at all of that property
Yes,
here
yes,
and then crossing over
okay,
into this part,
okay.
over into here. Just a little, maybe 20 acres down here, but yeah, there's a chunk over in Morgan County.
Where's our new plant?
It's gonna be about right there.
I mean,
It'll be right there on the same.
everything's perfect from a
Yeah.
location standpoint, so on. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a,
I think they're.
They can put all the toilets in Hendricks County.
So question.
I don't think it's, I mean, from a physical standpoint,
you can get
it
worked
makes
out.
perfectly good sense because Monrovia doesn't have any pipe there. They don't have, and they're not going to be able to put pipe there. So that part, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Though, like I said, I think some of it's gonna be politics and some of it's gonna be utilizing TIF dollars for financing.
We have a good enough
Yeah.
working relationship with the Morgan County people that I think we can work that out.
Yeah, and you kind of already plowed some of
Yeah.
that ground with the West Point deal.
Question, Madam President.
Mhm.
So we have, the Hendricks County Commissioners have always adopted have traditionally recently adopted 50-50 pass-through. So the part that goes into Morgan County, will they have the authority over the pass-through money there?
I would assume they would relay.
They have followed
Ours? Oh, okay.
our
Okay,
recommendation
good.
to this point on other items down there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But I would say, as we look at, if in fact in their minds, June, July is gonna be their thumbs up or thumbs down, then some of those issues are gonna start coming in before they make that decision. Obviously, they're gonna wanna know the dollars and cents of the program. So I would expect to have more of those conversations coming as we crack through the first of the year.
Is it public knowledge who this company is?
No. And I signed NDA.
That's fine.
Greg, the site person was who Adam knew and so on, and I've met with them as well, and so that's who it is, but again, we still don't know who it is.
When they deal with power companies, they demand a ton, and then sometimes they say, well, I don't need that for 4 or 5 years, so be careful.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm coming. We're gonna have plant costs, and I already brought that up with them. So they are aware. I mean, we had a really good conversation. It wasn't
Yeah,
a dance around kind of a thing. So,
I'm sure you did. Just keep it realistic that what they want and what we have to do.
Yep.
That's all.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Data plan.
when I think the other thing too is we got,
Is it?
like I told them back on that same line, if you tell me you're gonna need a bajillion gallons, I'm not gonna go build you a bajillion gallons. What I wanna know is, what do you want first? And how much is that? So, because they're gonna do building 1, and then a building 2, and a building, so I said, I wanna know building 1's requirements, and from the date you say go, no go, when do you need that? And then what's your next phase, and when do you need that relative to today, and we'll build ahead.
That's good.
So. Anyway, that's the big stuff.
Exit 50.
Everything's submitted now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we resubmitted the anti-tech report with Aqua as the permit permit holder or request, and IDEM confirmed they received it and had no questions. So they should be posting it this week for a 30-day public notice period. Again, just saying that there would be a new discharge for fracking at that location. So that, I don't know, I mean, now that Aqua's the applicant, I don't think you'll be notified. But I'll be notified, I'll make sure Jim knows with that, when that gets posted.
They've been great. Everybody getting this done. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Been great.
Okay, moving on then, you have the financial update in your packet. Just acknowledge it.
I acknowledge it.
Okay.
All right.
It's not in the red.
Next one you need approval.
The next one is for claims.
Hendricks Power, 852.69. Sturwell Witham Young's 120. American Structure Point 69.80. Fluid Waste Services $4,421.25. Town of Monrovia $13,518.05. Jim Martis $80. Aqua Indiana $1,221.78. American Structure Point $9,237.50. And American Structure Point $26,665.75. Move for approval.
Second.
Any questions on the claims? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any other business? Comments from board members? Council?
Have a nice Thanksgiving.
That's right. We won't see you. It's so late this year.
Well, this year's kind of fall. I just thought it would turn in January.
You know, there are some that would be happy the day January 1 comes around.
I need to go outside and get warm.
I guess I've worked outside my entire life, and it doesn't feel bad in here to me. I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm freezing. A motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Doug.
No,
Yeah, we had everyone in here last Friday, or that Friday,
realtor-
midday.
So
I thought they cranked the air up because all of our offices were freezing, but the hallways were just, there was so, it was just,
Yeah.
it was,
So it's right up behind you.
and we were in yesterday when they cleaned the carpets and it smelled almost the
It's
same.
a
Like,
nice-
we got that smell out and now it's back, but it's not too bad today.
So that thing on the
No,
whiteboard
it's not.
over there, is that part of our system?
It is, when we were